Hello and good afternoon, Scapers. First of all, I'd like to apologise for going a bit quiet in the past month. You've had plenty to say about Menethos, achievements and a few other updates, and it might have seemed like we were tucking our heads in the sand or maybe even popping off to the pub. In reality, we've been deep in discussion as a team. We've been so focused on Menethos and the determination to get it ready that we've neglected the wider game. So we've been making a big change or two. A note that we have a habit of announcing that we're going to make changes, and this time we want to talk to you about the changes we've already made. Expect us to go into more detail on Tuesday's live stream, as well as regular video and news post updates like this one. So let's put a date in the calendar. Friday 28th of July seems like a good time to check back in on what we're doing with another post. Okay, first of all, I'd like to talk about expansions. While many of you have liked, even loved Menethos, it's fair to say that it's had its problems. Regardless of whether you felt it was complete, we underestimated how much of our focus it'd take up. We've neglected other updates as a result, and the release schedule has felt a wee bit empty either side of Menethos, and it's clear that regular updates is something that makes RuneScape. The game just feels less alive without them. So, for this reason, we're suspending development on all future expansions. We might release expansion-sized updates like Elf City in the future, but we won't be committing to a sequence of them, and there will be no additional expansion this year. Now, I know that might sound dramatic, but hear us out and find out why we really do think that this is for the benefit of RuneScape. And that starts with the ninjas. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't like a ninja fix, that particular fix you've been waiting for. It can often have a greater impact than a conventional update. But colossal projects like the bank rework have really been blocking the team from strengthening weeks with essential quality of life improvements, and that's a real shame. We missed those updates. So 3 weeks ago, we made the decision to double the number of developers and testers on the Ninja team. Thanks to those additional developers and testers, we'll be releasing Ninja fixes like the following throughout July. We've got quick prayer resets that allow you to define a bunch of different prayers and curses to be turned on via one action. There's an aura bag to manage and unlock loyalty auras. Barrows, Shadow Third Age and Blood Dice being added to Telos weaponry. And that's just a taste of the updates you can expect regularly. We've got many, many more for August. And don't worry, the bank rework is still very much a thing. We're determined to keep the quality of these fixes high, and we've got a plan for how we might do that, and that plan is polls. We know that we've tried polls before, but while they're flawed, they work. It just feels right to be involved, and as such, polls are coming back in a big way. The plan is that we poll as many of our updates, fixes or improvements as we can. And okay, now for the big one. For the foreseeable future, the Eternals and Titans will be delivering the updates that have been promised in the past. They'll be finishing updates that feel unfinished and improving the core of the game. So think area reworks rather than new areas, continuations of old quest lines rather than new ones. Simply put, we want to pause for a moment and resolve the unfinished business in RuneScape. A good example is achievements. Let's not assume we've done it or finished with it. We want to fix it, complete it, and make it something that benefits the game for years. So we're planning to bring in interface improvements based on your suggestions, including more achievements on screen at one time and a player inspect feature. And Invention Batch 2 is another strong example. You know it's coming, but we're expanding its remit so it not only adds to Invention, but fixes it too. So while you can expect devices, machines, and benefits beyond level 10 for your gear, you can also expect fixes. These will include the removal of inspiration, making augmenters tradable, and a clearer idea of which perks will come from which components. But we now reach a bit of a quandary. In an ideal world, we'd show you a list of all of these updates, complete with their release dates, but that would only create more expectation and add to unfinished business rather than deduct from it. So instead, we'd like to list 10 updates that we're actively working on or researching. No dates attached, just reassurance that we're looking at those right now, and they'll be released only when they're ready and right for the game. So we have bank rework, mining and smithing, clue scroll overhaul, daily scape reductions, Invention Batch 2, achievement system finishing, Evil Dave quests, graphical reworks, combat pets, and Shattered World improvements to make it more rewarding and varied. We're going to be giving you progress reports on all of these, and expect the first on the 28th of July and regularly thereafter. We also want to get you involved in their priority and whether other updates should be replacing them on the list. With that in mind, it's time to mention the big RuneScape survey. On Tuesday, 11th of July, at the same time as an Unfinished Business live stream, we'll be launching the big RuneScape survey. This will be an open, online survey that lists everything we consider good for the game and previously promised, announced, or unfinished. We'll then ask you to prioritise them. So is a bunch of graphical reworks more important than a construction rework? Tell us, and we'll use the results to prioritise the unfinished business stuff that you want and build a backlog of updates to work on. Okay, I've kind of talked enough for now, and we can catch up again on the 28th of July anyway. But do remember to tune into the live stream on the 11th of July when we'll be answering your big questions and revealing the big RuneScape survey. But on a personal note, I know that these changes seem radical and probably rapid, but I'm convinced, having spent so much time reading your feedback recently, that it's the right direction to go in. Now it's your turn to tell us whether or not you agree. I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for being so committed and passionate. We really are lucky to have you.